CFA Institute, panels, professors, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. More than a century of distributing electricity throughout the Philippines, more than a century of providing the best value in energy, products, and services, we present to you Meralco, Electrify the Philippine Economy. We are the Century Investments. I'm Miss Monroy and here are my team members, Mr. Sitar, Mr. Ko, Ms. Herrera, and Mr. Wisco. Reaching a target price of 325 pesos and 21 centavos with an upside potential of 16.98%, a strong buy rating is recommended for Meralco stock. To start, here's Mr. Sitar from the investment highlights.
Our price target for Meralco is supported by several revenue-driving forces. First of which is the increasing GDP growth forecast for our country. With this, it is likewise expected that the energy demand for the industrial and commercial sectors will also increase. This is also due to the fact of the growing number of developmental projects within our aggregate economy. It is also for this same reason that despite a decrease in the fourth regulatory period tariff for Meralco, its bottom line earnings will not be substantially affected. Another point to consider is that the company is making its way back to the power generation business. A budget of $5 billion has been set aside for plant construction, and one of the ongoing projects is the Quezon Power Plant, which is expected to cater at around 184 megawatts of energy deficit by April 2015. In addition, the company is also planning to engage in the power business in the Visayas and the Mindanao regions. A recent move done by the company is to acquire the 20% shares of First Metro Investment Corporation in Global Business Power. The said company has a total capacity of 627 megawatts of power in the said area. With this, it is expected of Meralco to zoom in on the different positions that they can take as they try to venture in on the said area. Now we go to the company's distribution network. The distribution network for Meralco starts as they purchase energy from the different power generators, such as the NPC, IPPs, and the wholesale electricity spot market. This is then transmitted by the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines to Meralco's distribution system. Once it is under the control of Meralco, it is then distributed to us users or the end users of the process. Together with the company's 10 subsidiaries and guided by the company's strategic direction, Meralco continues to solidify its hold as the Philippines' largest electricity distribution company. For industry overview, here's Mr. Ko.
As population in the Philippines continues to increase rapidly, CRI expands, total energy consumption and sales boost up, and it is, as a result, projections see that the necessity of both the household and business sector will further drive the revenues high. Meralco has recently ventured back to its power generating services, and it is seen in the projections that a lot of potential growth will come from the power generation, as there is a foreseen gap that should be filled within the Luzon grid. The amount of gained revenues from the power generation sector will then contribute to the bottom line. So Meralco does not solely rely from its bottom line, distribution revenues. Instead, it will kick up due to the new open doors. ARCOA not only makes the competition in the industry very healthy, but it is also in favor of the Meralco, as majority of the contestable customers are left with no choice but to contract Meralco subsidiary Empower as their electricity supplier until they find another rest that fits their needs and other preferences. For the succeeding 2 years, the required electricity demand is lowered to 750 kilowatts to cater more customers that will benefit from this open access regime. After all, the government is amending EPIRA for the advantage of the mass users of electricity. To discuss further the financial analysis, here is Mr. Wisco.
Revenue, which accounts for 99% of sales and 1% from services, is expected to increase at annual average of 8.849% for the forecasted 2013 to 2015 operations. This growth is primarily driven by the increasing demand for electricity dominated by the commercial segment. In order to sustain this growth, the company is engaged in power plant activities that will provide 868 powers megawatts, greater than the 500 megawatt capacity. With the introduction of smart grid innovation, system loss is expected to decrease dramatically, together with the need to acquire additional capital assets and hire additional employees. These efficiencies is then reflected in the company's healthy profit margins. The company's liquidity position remains to be stable, as its current ratio and liquidity ratio remains to be at 1.0 level, which means it can sustain its short-term liabilities. As to structure, the company adheres to its rule of 70% debt and 30% equity, the highest of which is the 7% equity in 2015 for asset operations. For the valuation, here is Ms. Monroy.
Discounted free cash flow on equity was used as Meralco's appropriate valuation model, as seen from its WACC components, where equity financing contributes 92.8% share based from its market value of equity to support its project, thereby minimizing the use of debt financing, contributing only 7.2% share based from its book value of debt. Meralco's cash flows are discounted using the required return on equity calculated from the capital asset pricing model, a bet of 1.62 using monthly closing stock prices of Meralco and Philippine Stock Exchange Index, a risk-free rate of 3.65% using Philippine dealing system treasury fixing rate, and an average equity risk premium of 5%, an 11.75% cost of capital was used to discount the cash flows. Meralco is expected to continue its ownership and operation within its franchise service area for electric power distribution anchored on its various areas of growth, reaching a target price of 325 pesos and 21 centavos with an upside potential of 16.98%. A strong buy rating is recommended for Meralco's business segments opportunities as engines for economic activity. For the sensitivity analysis, from the current regulatory WACC of 14.97%, an assumption of decreasing it to 10% for 2016 to 2019 regulatory periods due to the low prevailing interest rate won't affect Meralco's bottom line earnings. Meralco can attain its specific profit targets due to the increased power demand coming from the commercial and industrial sector in the coming years. For the risk analysis, here's Ms. Herrera.
We classified the risk based on its likelihood and impact on our estimates. You can see the most relevant in the upper right-hand section of the matrix. Let's start with the excessive system losses. Based on ERC regulations, Meralco can charge its customers for system losses as long as it does not exceed its mandated cap. Any system losses above the mandated cap cannot be recovered that could negatively affect its financial performance. The next would be the economic downturns. Impairment of the Philippine economy not only decreases the demand for products and services in the Philippines, but also introduces the business, financial, industrial, and manufacturing activity in the Philippines that could have an adverse effect on Meralco's operations and prospects. The next would be the low tariff levels. If Meralco's tariff rate decrease or set too low, actual costs may exceed its revenues permitted to be recovered consistent with Meralco's prevailing tariff levels. Or, even if revenues exceed cost, it may not provide the company with reasonable margin that could negatively affect its financial performance. The last would be the unsuccessful generation plants and natural catastrophes. As Meralco entered into power generation business, some operational difficulties may be encountered, such as inefficient plant equipment, deficient poor quality fuel supply, unplanned power breakdowns, and disruptions in facilities caused by natural catastrophes. This event may have an adverse effect on its company's operations. As a conclusion, with all our investment highlights and team analyses, we recommend a strong buy rating for Meralco. With this, we end our presentation. Thank you very much, and we are now open to answer your questions.
Thank you, Investments.